Hey guys, welcome back to the shack. Tonight we'll be doing something a little different. I try to keep my content original. I try to keep new ideas coming. And I had an idea recently about doing some addressed envelopes with the laser. And I wanted to have a little insert card to go in there to hold one of my business cards for, thank yous for customers or whatever the case may be. And so I wanted to be able to do that with lasers and with light burn. And so I was going to do that this week, and I decided that in order, instead of just doing it and showing you guys, I wanted to show you the process. This is a pretty neat project in my opinion, but also a lot of the steps that I use, you can use to make other items. And maybe if you're not familiar with light burn, maybe it'll help you out with some of the functions and things that I do. I'm going to kind of try to let you know of each step and why I'm doing it. And so even if you're not interested in doing your own addressed envelopes or an insert card, it may be worthy of watching just to learn some of the light burn functions. So I've got some envelopes, I've got some card stock or some heavy paper like construction paper, and we're going to get this project started, but we're going to move over to the computer and get going. All right, guys, so we're going to be starting off here in light burn. I've got the cameras kind of split up. I tried to find a good place to put the Elgato camera so that it doesn't interfere with light burn during this. And so hopefully that little spot there works out for you. The first thing that I want to kind of point out to folks, I get this question a lot. People are asking me, how do you expand your jig kit if I want to make it bigger? How do I add or subtract from it without damaging it? So we're going to touch on that real quick, because in order to make this jig panel that I've made, I took one of my jigs and I made it bigger so that it would hold the envelopes. And I went ahead and cut that and got that ready. But I want to show you the steps that I go through. I have actually taken, and this is something that you can do also if you use my jig kit, I've created myself basically in my art library right here, I have all of my panels. So if I need a panel, I can just drag and drop it into the workspace and cut them from there. So the way I did this one, because I didn't want to use one of my big sheets of plywood for this project, so I used a smaller sheet, but it was kind of in between the large and the medium panel. So the way that I went about making this panel larger is, of course, I used the camera to capture how big the panel was. If you need to extend one of these panels, guys, all you've got to do is you can take the simplest way is click on the panel. Up here is going to tell you what the width is. You can literally go up here and copy that width, okay? Create you another square down here, however big you want to make it. Turn it into a cut, of course. On your width, just go back up here and paste that back into that box. Well, it's not letting me cut and paste, so I may have to remember the numbers. So let's stand by. But 388.584. I'll try to remember. I don't know why it's not letting me copy and paste that. Let me try Control C. Maybe light burn just doesn't like the copy and paste function. And then we'll see if Control V works. Okay, so Control C, Control V. Once you paste that in there, it's going to make this bottom part as wide as the panel is. Then all you got to do, guys, you can manipulate this piece here the way that you need to make this panel larger if you choose. The one thing that I will tell you is to line these up, as I've told you guys before. Click the one that you want to move first, then hold down Control, click the one that you want to align it with, then go up here and align vertical center. When you do that, these two are going to line up perfectly. You can zoom in right here and see that those two parts, because they are exactly the same width, lined up perfectly. All right, once you do that, all you've got to do, guys, is go in here, select both of these, and then use your booleans or whatever, weld them together. You hit that button, it welds them together, and now you have a larger panel. Same thing goes for making one smaller. If you want to make one smaller, drag you a box. This doesn't have to be any particular shape, size, or whatever. Go over here, hit your arrow, select the one that you want to cut a piece off of first, then select the piece that you want to cut off of it and go over here and use the other function, and that will trim that thing. It does not affect the spacing of the teeth. It doesn't affect this part of the file at all. It is simply like taking a knife and just chopping that bottom part off of it. Clean, no problems, no fuss. So that's how you go about making these panels the size that you need, guys. And that's something I probably should have covered in an earlier video because I do have to explain it a lot, but just that's how you do it. Using the booleans, you can add, subtract to, however you want these things. If you wanted to make a little tiny, like a half, you know, let's say you wanted to make this half as big. You just wanted this part right here. Same thing. You go over here, select that one, go up here, hold control, select that, and then use your little subtraction tool. And now you've got like a little small one. In case you want to do something small and you didn't want to use a big piece of wood, you could use scrap material, cut this out, and have a jig for whatever small object that you needed. So, tip of the day. But anyway, back to the original plan here. Let me go ahead and get this out of the workspace. So I've got my machine set up over here, and I've swapped the Wizmaker out, and so my camera's probably not going to be all that accurate with this machine. Yeah, see, it's not at all. So we're just not even going to use the camera really. That's even the wrong camera. Hang on, guys. That's the camera for the enclosure Zilla. So maybe this camera will give us a little bit. Well, no, not without calibrating. It's not going to work real well with the Wizmaker. So we'll just get rid of that. All right, and we'll hide that camera control because I've got some new lights to put in there, but they're flickering. So in order to do this job, and I've got a camera in the enclosure over here that I'll show you once we start making the pieces. This is the envelopes that I bought, and this is the envelopes that I'm wanting to use. I'm wanting to put just a return address up here with a clack shack. I'm going to do it with a laser. I know there's an easier way, guys. This is an opportunity for me to show you how I do these things and kind of walk you through the process. So that's why we're doing it, and it's cool. And there's not a video. I have not found a video anywhere of anybody engraving envelopes, so nobody can say I copied them. So first thing you need to know is how big of an envelope is this. So using my trusty little measuring stick here, it is 160. I'm going to call it 163. But by the time the curve hits, I think that'll work. So we're going to call it 163. So we're going to say that this thing's 163 wide. So I'm going to drag me a little box down here in the workspace. I'm going to make that 163. All right. All right. So now I need the height. The height. And the height is looking like 91. We'll call that 91. Yeah. All right. So 91. And this is very similar if you watch the video I did on the business cards. Same process, guys. Same exact process. So now I have learned that when you're using these jigs, you always want to put a little space to get your finger in there to get them out. So I'm going to get me a little circle here, and this circle doesn't have to be any specific size, shape, or anything like that. All I want to do here is create a circle so that I've got a place that I can reach underneath the envelope and flip it out of that jig when I get through. So I'm going to hold control. I want to have both of those selected, and I'm going to use the alignment tool here just to line that circle up in the middle. I'm not really concerned about this alignment because, like I said, this is just to provide me with a recess to get in and out of there. Nothing too fancy. So these two shapes, I'm not going to join them because I do want a spacer to go underneath the jig and allow a little bit of room so that the envelope can kind of sit below the surface of the jig itself. So I'm just going to leave that like that. Go ahead and here, select the whole thing. I'm going to create me an array and add 2 by 2. I think that's all I'm going to be able to fit on this panel. May not even be able to fit that many. We'll see. So I'm going to add those to there. I could have moved those two a little closer. Let me move those in a little bit. I'm just going to select both of them. Use the arrow key. I've got mine set to move 1 millimeter increments with just the arrow key. So move all those together. I'm going to group everything. And that's just to keep them spaced evenly so they don't get messed up. The jig should reach up to about right here. Let me add the other camera so y'all can kind of see what I'm doing here. So there we go. Now you got both cameras. Let me power up the Wizmaker. And I'm going to home the machine first, of course, because I want to make sure I start from the home location. I'm going to go ahead and run this out there and frame it up and make sure it stays on my material. You should be able to see it up in the camera up there. Okay. That's going to fit, guys. It's not exactly centered, though. So I'm going to hold shift, hit the arrow key, and move it over about 10 millimeters to see if that fixes it. That's pretty close. I'm not worried about it being completely in the center. So I'm going to close the enclosure here. Let me go over and turn the air assist on. And I'm going to output it. Now, I'm going to have to pause the video, or at least cut out the audio during this, because when I turn the vacuum exhaust on, it's going to get a little loud. So here we go. Let me get this cut out. I'm running 6 millimeters a second, 100% power, and that's just to make sure I get clean drops, because this is some of my lesser quality plywood that I've kind of coiled. All right, guys, so the burn has completed, and I've got the actual recesses as well as the thumb tabs cut in the material, and you can see that up on the Logitech camera up there inside the enclosure. I went ahead and put 2 of the envelopes in there. Guys, I have no idea what the power settings are going to be. So I'm fixing to use the jig, and we're going to determine what the power settings are. Between 80 and 100 wasn't that big of a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send those out, and you should be able to see what happens over there on the enclosure camera. Oh, guys, I forgot to change it to groups. That's going to make it take longer. I just added a whole bunch of white space. So, yeah, see, I've got it all at once. I should have changed it to groups. So, well, it'll just take a little longer, but we'll be back. All right, guys, so that went well. You can see the camera there. I got all 4 of them burned, and they look pretty good. So the only thing is I could have made the text a little smaller, but I kind of want these to be almost like postcards, to be honest with you. So I'm okay with the text being a little big. One thing that I do think I would like to add to them is going to be maybe add my logo somewhere on the envelope, because these are going to be, I want these to be cool envelopes. You know what I mean? I want the envelope to almost be as cool as what's inside. So I'm considering adding the logo. Yeah, that's very close. I'm gonna call that done. So let me get back out where I can see everything. Just to add the logo, I'm gonna turn the fill off, and I'm just gonna add the logo right quick and see how that looks. So here we go. All right, guys, so those 4 envelopes are done. I will caution you, the fan on the laser is trying to move one of the envelopes. 3 of them didn't have a problem, but 1 of them did. A quick remedy for that would be, you know, a magnet or a little, maybe even just take a coin, maybe like a nickel or a quarter or something, and lay on top of the envelopes that are in there, so that that little bit of breeze from that fan doesn't try to move them. All right, I've got my craft paper. And this is just some really thick, like craft hobby paper, construction paper, you know, whatever. And what I want to do is I want to make a little card, kind of like you see in a lot of situations if they send you a credit card or whatnot. I kind of want to have some little slots to slide this in and lock it, and then have a place that I can, you know, write something on there or whatever. Kind of hold it still, hold it in the envelope, just make it look cool. This is just a card that I've done some demoing with, but it's the same size as the ones that I do for myself. So that's what we're going to start with. So I'm going to need to know the size of the envelope to make my card fit in there snugly, and then the size of this to be able to put the slots in it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So here in Lightburn, one of the measurements that I need, I already have because we just got through engraving the envelopes. So I know that this shape here on Lightburn is the outer dimensions of the envelope. So one easy way to do it is just to take, and I'm going to just copy that little line right there. All right, I'm going to save this file. I did save this as envelope jig so I can open it later if I need, whenever I get ready to burn more of them. And then I'm just going to create me a new file. All right, I copied that shape, so I'm going to paste it in here. Well, I know that that is the size of the outside of this envelope. So really from there, all I've got to do is go in here and let's say I'll make this thing, let's say 89, so it's not too tight, by 162. And I'm going to make that shape. All right, so now I've got that shape in there. I'm going to assign it a power setting. I'm not going to use my typical cut power, of course. So I'm going to pick me another color down here and just go with the purple color. All right, so I am fairly confident this machine is going to cut this stuff really fast. So I'm going to run it at 100 speed at 100% output to start with. I could run a speed test, guys, but like I said, I'm afraid it's going to start a fire. So we're just going to do some little test cuts on this paper just to see how it works out. So I'm going to need to power the machine back up. Let me bring the camera back up for you guys. Homing the machine. I did take my jig panel out of there. For you guys that don't know, check out my Etsy shop if you're interested in the jig kit. They are in my Etsy shop for multiple machines, not just a Wizmaker. All right, let's see what happens this time. Oh yeah, that fell out. So, if nothing else, guys, I got a good way of making confetti really fast. So that was 80 speed at 100% output. It fell clean. There's no snags, no drops. No need to push it out. It's going to be a nice cut. It's going to look like it was cut out by a press or by scissors. So I've got my settings now. I've got to come up with the design or the shape, if I can pick this card up, to hold the card in there. The way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to measure this card. And it is, I should know this by now, as many of these days I do, 54. So I'm going to go with 55. So I'm going to create me another square. I want to make it 55 tall. All right. And lengthwise, we're going to call this 86. So I'm going to go ahead and round it up to 87. Give myself a little extra. All right. So that's the size of this business card that I have. But what I'm wanting, guys, is I'm wanting it to be able to like have a slot on the corners here to be able to fit this card in. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this shape, if I can get the right tool selected, I'm going to have to take this shape and figure out where exactly I want it in this card. So I think maybe put it right there. That'll leave me, if I put it here, that'll leave me this little area to put a node or, you know, whatever, if I want to do that. So I'm going to select that one because this is the one I want to move. I'm going to select that one because this is the one I want to line it up with, and I'm going to align it in the horizontal centers. All right, the next step is going to be to go in and add those slots that I need. So I'm going to select my points, and as you can see, this shape is not allowing me to see the nodes. Usually, guys, the cause of that is going to be that all you got to do is go up here and convert that to a path, and once you convert that to a path, then you should be able to see the nodes, and it did. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go and hold in the middle between these 2 points, and I'm gonna hit M. I'm gonna hit M. M again. M again. Just every time you hit M, it's gonna put a midpoint in that section of line. And what I'm basically doing is, so that I don't have to do math, because you know I don't like math, is I'm having it create me midpoints. And these midpoints I'm going to use to create the line that I want. So there we go. I've got these things divided up. The corners are where I want them. That is exactly how I would like for it to be. So I'm going to go in here. And now what I'm going to wind up doing here is I am just going to select this little spot right here, and I'm going to hit D. That's going to delete everything like that line will get deleted. If you hold the cursor on that line and hit D, it deletes it. So this is going to delete all of these guys that I have absolutely no need for. And I'm going to run all the way around, deleting every one of them. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. I still don't got those lines that I wanted. Yeah, I do. All I got to do is delete that one, guys. Delete that node, and now I have the shape that I wanted, which is I wanted those 4 little tabs to be able to insert that card into. So that's exactly how I wanted it to look. Now, all of this is going to be a cut. So I'm going to go over here. It was 27 is the one that I've got set for the cut. Actually, I've got both of them set. So I'm just going to run all of them at 27. And that should cause it to cut like that. And so I'm just going to be like, thanks from the Clack Shack. Now, I don't have any settings for this paper on this machine. So this text is going to be some guesswork, guys. I'm going to run it basically the same thing we did with the envelope, and just see how that works out. So change that to middle alignment. I'm just going to put that up here. There we go. So one thing I want to do is I want to make sure my fill is above the line, because I want to fill this before I cut it, because we know that the fan has a tendency to blow this material around. So got that done, and I'm going to put a piece of paper in. All right. Settings for the fills, 250 millimeters per second, 90% power. The cut is 80 speed at 100% power. So here we go. And this is, like I said, this is a light green, almost like a lime colored paper. I do know that greens usually do pretty well with a laser. They don't reflect as much as some other colors. So that's why I chose the green instead of, you know, the blue or the white or something like that. You can still, with paper, you can still cut it cut the white with the laser, but it's just easier to me. I like this color green, so. All right, so it cut it out, and let's see if it works. But once you pull this guy out of there, you have a gift card, business card holder, whatever. You could customize it with whatever text you wanted on there. You could put that in there, and you know, have a gift card. You can have your business card, whatever you choose to do. I know a lot of guys that, you know, have prayer cards or, you know, information on a card that they keep in their wallet, and there's just, it's limitless what you can come up with. So now you have the method of making a sheet of paper that you can put in a paper envelope and put either a regular business card, a metal business card, a gift card. I mean, you can put your credit card in there if you wanted, and there's the address if you want to ship me your credit card, you can do that. But just another idea of one of the many things that you can do with a laser. And I know, guys, there's easier ways, like I said, but there was not a video out there of anybody making envelopes or gift card holders or anything with a laser. And my friend May over at May Made It is always doing paper crafting. So I figured maybe she might like this video as well. So May, if you're watching the video, you're not the only one that can make things with paper. and I didn't start a fire because, guys, she kind of warned me that I might start a fire, but I didn't. So there's that. So if you hadn't already, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're interested in any of the jigs that I used or the focus tool that I used for my machine, then go check out the Etsy. Hopefully the Etsy shop will have it in there in the next few days. I do got to package that thing up and get it out there, but that shouldn't take me but a few days. Hopefully by the time you see the video, it'll already be there. But if not, if you have a different machine, there are numerous machines that I have modified the jig set to work with. And so if you have one of the others, then it's already there and you can pick that up. But also, guys, don't forget Sunday nights, 7 p.m., Steve and I over at Venturi's Workshop, we do a live show. We do everything from just discussing the new lasers that are out there, answering you guys' questions, making recommendations, making fun of each other, just having a good time, hanging out, talking to other folks that like to run lasers or work lasers or have laser businesses, and just giving advice, giving tips to the best of our ability. So if that's something that interests you, if you've got time, drop in 7 o'clock Central Sunday nights and check us out, and maybe you can learn something or either teach us something. Either way, it'll be a good day. But thanks for stopping by, and until next time, guys, be safe and have a good day.